Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the Online Series 13 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the previous episode, which I've linked down in the description below, we tried out this really fun team featuring Riolu and Magearna, and the idea is that Riolu can use Copycat to copy Magearna's Max Guard, which is actually Trick Room, thus ensuring that you get Trick Room up. So, if you haven't seen the last episode, I highly recommend it because it just showcased how good this specific duo can be, but hoping to showcase some of the other modes with this team today with Yveltal, Calyrex, and Kyogre all as viable options as well. So yeah, thank you so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Before we get started, today's episode is sponsored by Into the AM. They're a super awesome apparel company that makes all kinds of different clothing ranging from t-shirts to graphic tees to hoodies to joggers, and they are very well known for their graphic tees in particular. I'm currently wearing a tie-dye one, as you can see, and they have all kinds of different designs on their website. So if you go to intotheam.com/cybervgc, you can get 10% off. You can also use the code cybervgc10 for 10% off your next order. This is just a taste of all of the products that are on their website. There's currently free shipping for orders over $85 if you live within the US, and Into the AM also often offers sales on their website. There is actually a big end of the season sale starting from September 12th and ending on September 18th, so don't forget to check back on their website to see what deals are in store. And yeah, I've linked some of my favorite products from them down in the description below, so thank you to Into the AM as always for supporting the channel. Ooh, we've got a Melmetal as well as, it's cool seeing Palkia Dialga next to each other and then Kyogre Groudon also next to each other. I actually think Melmetal's really interesting as I wouldn't say a Magearna, like, counter, but, like, yeah, Magearna can't really touch it. You can, Max Lightning it, but I think if you want to counter Magearna, like, or give it trouble in this format, Steel types are actually really good. Solgaleo, Dialga, Melmetal. So I think this is a really nice anti-Magearna team from them. I don't think I can lean into Magearna as much, but I don't even know who I can lean into. To me, this is all about stalling out their Dynamax, and then trying to win the game from there. I'm down to go with the Yveltal Calyrex lead, Magearna. Like, I could bring Riolu in the back, but I don't think it's actually that good. I guess it helps me guarantee Trick Room though, no? And that might still be worth it just in itself. I mean, Kyogre's good into the Melmetal though. I think I'm just going to go with all 4 restricteds in this one. I want to play flexible because I don't have too much experience fighting against Melmetal, and 2, I feel like my win rate against Dialga has been like 0%. Like, it's just actually been a really tough Pokemon to fight against, and what's interesting comparing Dialga in this format compared to Series 12, when you were only allowed 2 restricteds, is that, like, the games feel a little bit more fast-paced, and so Dialga can snowball things a little bit quicker. They go with Dialga Indeedee, which I'm very okay with, because my plan here is to just snarl, hope to bait out a Dynamax, then, if we can stall out their Dynamax, then Magearna can maybe sweep in the end game. But I think Dialga is actually just really good here. I don't have a single way to hit it for super effective damage, and I just don't do that much damage to it in general. But double Snarl here immediately to start off is pretty good in itself. Mainly curious if they like Dynamax or they try to Trick Room. Could just be Protect, and then Indeedee could Shadow Ball into my Calyrex as well. I'd be very happy seeing a Max here, because I'll get them to -2 before they even get an attack off, and I can get them to -3 for sure. Okay, good, they max. That's huge. Part of the thing with using this team is recognizing when you can't just spam Riolu plus Magearna, because it's like, yeah, okay, if I lead Riolu Magearna here, what do? I get Trick Room up? What do I do after that? I guess it could be, like, Earthquake into Steel Spike, but how am I actually KOing Dialga in the long run is the question, right? Especially when I'm giving up a slot for Riolu. I actually did not, go for Follow Me with Indeedee, so it's probably Shadow Ball, maybe? Ooh, we almost KO. I think if Indeedee just fainted there outright, I would be in such a good spot, but the problem is now Indeedee probably gets Shadow Ball off, and it could be Shadow Ball Hailstorm, just a double up into one slot. Go for Max Lightning. I wonder if this is even does half. Yeah. This is the strength of Snarl in this format, and this is also why Snarl Calyrex Shadow Rider is a world champion from this Series 12. And they Shadow Ball. I wonder how much this does after them being at -2. Like, the thing is, I'm going to get to Dialga to -4 in this game, which is crazy, and that doesn't actually even... Yeah. Interesting, so NDD probably just didn't have any, has no special attack investment here. Because I was expecting Shadow Ball to bring us down to Sash if we didn't get the double Snarl off. I'm content to just keep clicking Snarl here. I don't think I've ever won a game in that fashion by clicking Snarl with both of my Pokemon, but they were in such a bad spot after turn 1 that I honestly don't blame them for forfeiting. This, though, is a testament to how you have to recognize how sometimes you can't just go with Magearna, right? In the previous episode, I led Riolu Magearna, Riolu Magearna, Riolu Magearna in all 3 battles. It was really dominant, but in a team that has Melmetal as well as Dialga, like, I just don't think we can get away with that nearly as easily. And by coming up with this plan and executing it worked out really well, where, yeah, I mean, even if Dialga didn't max on turn 1, like, what is it really going to do, right? Dual Snarl spam on turn 1 in itself is really powerful, and, like, Calyrex Snarl actually becomes fairly powerful because they're max special attack and you have the Dark Aura as well. So, I don't think I've ever won a game like that before, but it's definitely a fun way to get things started. Ooh, we've got Lugia here, as well as Grimmsnarl Amoonguss. Grimmsnarl's interesting because I've seen it in Team Preview a bunch, but I feel like no one's actually really ever brought it. The Amoonguss causes me problems because it means I can't just rely on Trick Room very easily here. I'm glad we're running into teams that give Magearna trouble, though, because, yeah, like, in the previous episode, it just felt like Magearna was dominating everything. The thing is, the Amoonguss alone is what makes things trickier, because if I copycat, like, Max Guard turn 1 and they have Amoonguss out, they can just Spore me. Maybe I could still go with Riolu. I just don't feel that confident with it if I'm not getting maximum value out of it immediately. I'm down for Calyrex Yveltal here. I'm not opposed to just 4 restricteds once again. It's a very different way of playing with this team, but basically in neither of the matches today have I felt confident with Riolu Magearna open with Amoonguss in the back. I think it could work in this game, but I don't know. It's the opposing Amoonguss that really gives me, yeah, some fear. And if I were my opponent, I would definitely be bringing the Amoonguss, because that's your best Trick Room answer. So, I think the thing with this team is, if you know, even if you know what the Riolu Magearna combination is, you're going to spend very, like, so much attention trying to just shut that down specifically that I can utilize that to my advantage. It's Grim and Zacian, though, so Magearna Riolu would have been pretty good here. That's okay, though. Yeah, this is honestly one of the worst leads for me to run into, I think. Main question is, does Zacian have a play rough here? Because what I can do here is actually click Trick Room. I could switch into Magearna, but I don't want to take a Behemoth Blade. I'm down to Trick Room and Foul Play here, because even if I lose Yveltal, if it means a free switch into Magearna, I don't think that's bad. They just start off with Light Screen, okay. They go for Substitute, okay. That ends up working out really well for us, because the Foul Play is just going to break the Substitute here. And I get Trick Room up. Okay. That definitely works. They could set up Reflect now, obviously. I don't think I really want to go onto Magearna yet, but I guess if I go into Kyogre, their Groudon in the back's a problem. The thing is, would you really Behemoth Blade Calyrex here? I don't think it's that much of a threat. I could see them doubling up onto Calyrex, I suppose. Yeah, I think I'm actually just going to click Astral Barrage and Foul Play here. I think they should maybe protect with Zacian, which is why I was contemplating the switch into Magearna. This turn was tricky because, like, I think switching into Magearna is very strong for us. But if my opponent predicts it and just Behemoth Blades into the Magearna switch, and I'm in really bad shape. And they actually just Spirit Break Yveltal, which I'm okay to see here. So they don't set up a Reflect, which I think is also fairly critical, because it means Foul Play just does more damage here. That's not bad at all. Behemoth Blade. I'd love to see this go into Yveltal, because it would give me a free switch into Magearna. That would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, they split their damage. That's exactly why I didn't want to just switch out the Calyrex that turn, right? Because if I do, I could be in a really bad spot. Whereas I think Calyrex, you know, taking that blade is honestly okay. So we get Astro here. Nice, that's a KO onto Zacian. Zacian's eliminated. That's one of the bigger threats to Magearna out of the way now. Grimstar will set up Light Screen. They get a free switch in. Spirit Break's not a guarantee to a KO into Yveltal, which is good to see. So let's see what they bring out. Groudon, Lugia, Xerneas. Xerneas would be really interesting. It's Groudon though, okay. I wonder if they contemplate Dynamaxing it here. So you could Rockfall into Yveltal. I think I'm down to switch Yveltal into Magearna. The risk is if they, I don't know, Dynamax and Flare the Yveltal slot. But I do think conserving Yveltal is pretty good into Groudon in this matchup. If they go for the Flare onto the Yveltal slot, so be it. Kudos. I think, you know, Rockfall a lot of players would go for here in that position. They've done a good job not giving me a free opportunity to just bring in Magearna immediately. Yep, so there's Dynamax. I don't know, part of me also thought about double switching here to get Kyogre out to set up the rain so that Magearna just doesn't faint, but then Kyogre's in a weird spot. But then I suppose I could just hard switch Kyogre out the subsequent turn, max Magearna, Steel Spike, and then bring it back in. The classic dilemma here is also not knowing how fast the Groudon is, because the Kyogre here is only like 4 speed EVs. Spirit Break. Okay, on to Calyrex. That's fine. Is it Max Flare coming up from Groudon is the question. Because if not, I just got a free special attack boost, right? Nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Positioning in this game was tough, I think, because the Grimmsnarl was actually a really good offensive tool for my opponent. Yeah. The Flare into Yveltal is always safe unless I switch in Kyogre, but even if I switch in Kyogre, it's not that bad for my opponent. So I think I should... I needed to double switch there. Just get the policy like activated on Magearna, get myself to +3 immediately. Because Magearna is the win condition in this game, and I kind of just threw it out the window, right? Hit screen. How can I win this? Is there any way in which I win this? I can't protect with Yveltal is the thing. So if they Spirit Break and they have Rockfall and they double up onto Yveltal, I think I always lose here. Guess I'm down for Sucker Punch, Dynamax, and just Geyser, and hope that Groudon's faster than me. The other play I thought about was like Max Darkness with Yveltal and attack with Kyogre. But yeah, I think I needed to just double switch, and get Magearna and Kyogre out next to each other to guarantee Flare doesn't KO us. Because I would have had a pretty boosted Magearna. Nicely done. They played this game so well, so honestly, no shame. The way they utilized Grimmsnarl in this game, I think, was excellent. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they actually commit Flare, which is not going to KO us. And then I changed the weather again. That was a crit too. Wow, okay. I don't think that crit really matters, because like I was always going to be in range from a Spirit Break KO anyway. That's definitely Assault Vest Groudon. We did like 0 damage to it. Wow. I mean, Light Screen is up, obviously, but that's a cool play. Yep, last turn Trick Room here. I think the only way I can win now is if my opponent really throws the game away. So I'm going to foul play Geyser, because it's not like Sucker Punch really does much anyway. They can just Spirit Break Yveltal here. Yep, there's Flare. The one way this, like, they could mess this up is if they did not Spirit Break Yveltal and they targeted Kyogre instead this turn. But looks like they doubled up onto it. I think my opponent played a near perfect game here. And I think they made Grimmsnarl look better than really anyone else I've seen thus far. The problem for me in this was that Magearna was really, really good into their team, but I couldn't figure out how to just, like, best activate it. Riolu Magearna actually, in the end, I think would have been okay here. Yeah. But yeah, I think the way they utilized Grimmsnarl and screens in this game was very masterfully done. And even if Magearna got activated in this game, like, I am curious what their last Pokemon is. Yeah, Trick Room is over. Yeah, -2 speed. Because if it's something like a Moongus, could we win? If I like end up critting Water Spot on Grimmsnarl? Okay, they Scary Face. They are faster after the Scary Face. Yeah, that's why the self-Scary Face was very smart to ensure that they outsped us under Trick Room. Yeah, I think my opponent played this game so well, honestly. Riolu Magearna would have worked, but the thing is, they would have been able to actually set up Reflect into Substitute, which would have been pretty bad for me. Xerneas is the last one. I'm not going to give up yet here, because if we crit Origin Pulse while they Geomancy, if they end up clicking Geomancy, I could actually still maybe win. Double crit. I mean, I don't really care about the Grim as much, but... yeah, they don't bother clicking Geomancy, they just Moonblast. I think that's absolutely the right play. Just Moonblast and a Spirit Break here. Yeah, and the Grim's just faster after Scary Face. Yeah, that is the best Grimmsnarl's looked, I think, in Series 13 thus far. And my opponent was pretty highly ranked. Cool team with the Xerneas as well. Substitute on Zacian. And they made Grimmsnarl Zacian look really powerful. So, yeah, like, I could go with Riolu Magearna here, but I think Substitute actually stops what I want to do with Magearna really, really hard, and that's part of the reason why they let it. You can set up screens and get up a Substitute immediately, which I think is really cool. So, yeah. Trying to think how else I could have beaten Grimmsnarl with screens and Scary Face plus Zacian. Scary Face is another dynamic as well. Amoonguss with Spore could at least target the Grimmsnarl slot, but then I still have to KO Zacian. I think Zacian with sub here is honestly just tricky, but my opponent did a really good job identifying that lead immediately and just punishing me, like, very hard for it. And ultimately it was, yeah, I think the main turn I point to is when I switched to Magearna and just ate up the Max Flare, which I even talked about as it was happening. I should have at least just, like, switched in Kyogre there to, you know, set up the rain so that I don't just faint from Flare there immediately, and then I can look towards Dynamaxing either Kyogre or the Magearna from that position. Alright, next one here, and we've got Ho-Oh, Palkia, Regieleki, Lunala, Calyrex, and Amoonguss. It's so funny to me to see like Lunala and Calyrex on the same team after playing so much of the previous format, but it makes sense here. Wow, it's the Amoonguss again. Like, I just really do not feel confident with Magearna Amoonguss. And I said Magearna Amoonguss, Magearna Riolu. I think Dynamax Regieleki here can be a big problem for me, but the thing is, if you Dynamax Alecki, then your Amoonguss can't Spore, which is pretty interesting. So I'm actually... wow, okay, I'm gonna try this mode again. So, I don't know, like, none of the games have felt good for Riolu Magearna because, like, they've all had answers into it. But I think this is such a great stark contrast from the previous episode where I could just lead it and my opponents had very few ways to punish it. Because this combo, like, shouldn't just win all the time, right? Yeah, it's good, but it's good that we're running into things that make me a little bit scared to bring it. I'm going to go with these four. The logic is, I have Snarl with Calyrex and Yveltal. It's really good into Palkia, right? And some of the other attackers on their team. So let's see what they opt for. Okay, that's Regieleki and Ho-Oh. Like, do I think they're gonna max lightning on turn 1, I guess is the question. Because I can just Sucker Punch Regieleki. And Trick Room. I'm down for that. If I led Magearna plus the Riolu here, turn 1 I could Copycat Max Guard, but what they could do is just switch into Amoonguss with one of the 2 slots and then just Spore Magearna on turn 2, which is not good. Okay, they don't max either Pokemon. They actually just risk Thunder and I end up dodging it. Mystical Fire on a Calyrex, okay. That did nothing. Well, it's Mystical Fire, I suppose, yeah, not like Sacred Fire. Anyway, obviously pretty lucky dodge there. Wouldn't have KO'd us though, I don't think. Got a special attack drop onto us. I'm mainly curious if there's an Amoonguss waiting for me in the back right now. I'm gonna click Snarl here and switch out into Kyogre. The idea is that Snarl should KO Regieleki, get a little bit of chip damage. The slight risk here is I can miss Snarl onto Regieleki, so if I wanted to guarantee the knockout onto it, Foul Play is better, but Regieleki could protect here. Or switch. Amoonguss? Yeah. This is where things get interesting, because they did indeed bring Amoonguss. Just another Mystical Fire, this time onto Yveltal, for no damage. Okay. I mean, this is a very passive Ho-Oh thus far, which I'm okay with. I think I just concede Amoonguss putting something to sleep. I'm not going to max Lightning just to prevent them from sporing Kyogre, and I'm just not interested in maxing from this angle right now. So I want to Oblivion Wing and Water Spout. You can't deny both attacks here, right? You can sport one of the 2 slots. Yep, so they target Kyogre, that's fine. Essentially, I don't mind getting hit by Spore right now because I want to just stall out some of your sleep turns. Mystical Fire onto Yveltal again. Okay. I guess, I mean, neither of us is really doing damage to each other, so this current setup is amusing. But the thing is, Kyogre already just eats a turn of sleep, so I just wake up next turn, and I get a full-powered Water Spout off. That's just so powerful. Okay. I'm not switching out here because I do not want to eat up a Spore with anything in the back, and I want to just burn sleep turns while Amoonguss is out on the field, so I'm just going to Spore and Water Spout. I said Spore and Water Spout, it's late. Oblivion Wing and Water Spout. Okay, they target Kyogre this time around. I think that's smart. Just decrease my special attack. Kyogre does wake up. Cool. So we get a full-powered... Not full-powered, I mean... Nearly full-powered. Like, that's still so much damage. Oh my gosh. Wow. This next turn is interesting. If I were them, I'd probably switch Ho-Oh out into Regieleki and Spore with the Amoonguss slot. I think I'm down to just burn another turn of sleep here and protect. We'll see if they switch out. If they don't switch out, I think they're going to be in pretty bad shape, but yeah, they do go for it. Yep, Regieleki comes back out. That makes sense. Yeah, Spore goes into protect. Take another turn of sleep here. Regieleki pressures with Thunder right now. Trick Room expires. Question is whether or not you Rage Powder here to avoid getting KO'd by Sucker Punch. Switch Yveltal out as well. I shouldn't discount the idea of Dynamaxing Kyogre to survive with Thunder, right? I don't hate that. Because if I KO Amoonguss with Geyser, like right now they're forced to Rage Powder, right? And they could risk it and not Rage Powder, but then if I wake up, I can just get a double KO with Sucker Punch Geyser. I know this play seems kind of weird. I don't know if it was the best play, but the logic here is that, like, I think I could lose a lot in the next 2 turns if I just, like, give up Kyogre and Yveltal stays asleep. But by Dynamaxing here, I can definitely take an attack from Regieleki. They didn't go for a Rage Powder, so they risked it there. They actually Volt Switch into Yveltal. Okay, that actually works out well. So Kyogre doesn't take any damage. I should get the KO onto Amoonguss now. But, yeah, like, if Yveltal just gets the Wake Up there, that's a double KO for me. And I think I just win the game off then, because I can just knock out the Ho-Oh with ease. Palkia comes out, that's fine. So Geyser should KO Amoonguss here. Cool. The idea is now Geyser can just demolish both Ho-Oh and Regieleki. Yeah, Palkia is kind of annoying for Yveltal, but that's okay. Rain stops, so the timing of that was not amazing, but that's okay as well. Maxing Kyogre there only lost, I don't know, Dynamax Regieleki, but we're pretty bulky on Kyogre as well, so I'm not even sure that works out. Okay, I think I want to Snarl here. And Geyser. Because the thing is, Palkia is not even that strong into Magearna if I get a bunch of special attack drops onto it. Like, the interesting debate for my opponent now is who do you Dynamax? I actually think Ho is a decently acceptable max option rather than Palkia. And you do Ho-Oh mainly for, like, survivability. Make sure that you don't just faint to Geyser. Yep, that's what they're going to go for. Nicely done. I'm curious, so they kept using Mystical Fire, so I mean, it looks like a really bulky Ho-Oh. I'm curious about the other moves. They really love Blind Thunder, huh? But they target the Kyogre slot, which, I mean, yeah, we'd have taken some damage, but wouldn't have fainted. I mean, we've definitely gotten very lucky in this game with all the Thunder misses. Thunder is just not a reliable offensive option in VGC, right? That's why you don't see it that commonly. That's definitely got to be a Saltness Ho, right? But yeah, like we've still been super lucky, right? You want to run Thunder, namely when like you think that yeah, I mean, yeah, you either have Rain or you can set up the Rain yourself, or you just think it's, you know, worth running on the team for a Dynamax Max Lightning. So it makes sense, right? It's not completely like out of left field. Regieleki can sweep me with Thunder in this endgame. It's actually really scary, no? I think I'd rather switch Yveltal into Calyrex here. Geyser into Ho-Oh. I really don't want to max Lightning because I don't want to set up Electric Train for Regieleki. The problem now is like I really want to get Trick Room up, but how do I actually accomplish that? Okay, so we get Calyrex out. Thunder is going to hit this time around because the rain is actually up. No para. Yep, they max Flare. I'm very curious how fast they are relative to us with the speed boost, because Palkia and Ho-Oh might be like slow enough where even after +1 they don't outspeed us, which would be huge right now. Geyser does literally nothing into Ho-Oh there though. Wow, that is impressive. Makes sense. I want to position Magearna to get Trick Room up, because if Trick Room goes up, I feel like I win the game. Right now they can Thunder plus max Airstream me. Thunder Kyogre, max Airstream Calyrex. I'm down to Snarl Protect here, because if I get Palkia on a -2, Magearna can maybe angle to set up Trick Room, and then we win the game if Magearna sets up Trick Room, I think. Hydro Pump into Kyogre, so they were slower. Or sorry, they were faster, but they end up targeting Kyogre. Hydro into Kyogre is interesting because to me it feels like they're covering for Magearna switching, which makes sense. I feel like my main mistake in the last game was, yeah, bringing in Magearna. And they actually, ooh, did I double up into Kyogre? Okay. Works for me, I think. Because you didn't change the weather now. Your Palkia's at -2, but it's like, do you really want to switch that out? I could protect here, right? But then they could thunder me. That's not that bad. No, I don't think I actually want to protect here. I think I'd rather Astral Barrage. Actually, no, I want a Trick Room, because if we get Trick Room up, Magearna wins this game. So Trick Room, Origin Pulse. They end up forfeiting. I think I was in a pretty good spot, but I think they still could have won that one. But I think for them, they were just like, okay, I went all in on trying to, you know, fish for Kyogre switching out. It didn't work in my favor. But I don't think the game was over from that angle. Like, my opponent still could have maybe won. Black Sludge, max HP defense, Amoonguss. What? Leftovers Lunala, Moongeist, Will-O-Wisp, Hypnosis, Wide Guard. Choice Scarf Regieleki with Protect. Lustrous Orb, Palkia, 4 attacks. Focus Sash, Calyrex. Yep, and it was Assault Vessel. Ho was really interesting here because honestly gave me a fair amount of trouble. Yeah. So I wish we could have seen it play out like 1 or 2 more turns, but I guess part of the reason my opponent also forfeited was because they were like, okay, I have choice Scarf Regieleki in the back and I can't protect. But I wouldn't know that, right? And so I might play in a suboptimal way because I haven't confirmed the Regioleki's item or set here. But yeah. Today's episode was really interesting because, like, I never felt confident with the Magearna Riolu lead, whereas in the previous episode, I always let it. So it goes to show the stark contrast. And for me, the main problem in a couple of these matches was just afraid of them either reversing my Trick Room or, of course, Amoonguss being in Team Preview and, you know, being a potential factor as well. So Assault Vest Ho definitely is the set I want to try out after going up against it here. And it was a bold one as well. And it, you know, we got that first Water Spout off. It was looking really good, but then they Dynamax, and Kyogre just really wasn't doing any damage against it. So, yeah. Anyway, though, fun set of games here, very different from the previous set. So thank you so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.